Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. Only 3 NBA games on Tuesday night, so I had some extra time to make a college basketball video. I'm going to go through like 4 or 5 games. We'll see how much time I have. Yeah, let's get it started.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, let's talk some SEC. We got Florida on the road at Tennessee to play the Vols. Tennessee laying 9.5 points at home, but actually I see some 9s popping up as I'm saying this. When I looked earlier, it was 9.5, 10. Now I'm seeing 9.5 and 9. So it looks like the line's moving towards Florida here. Total sitting at 159.5. Well, first off, we have to acknowledge that Tennessee has been good as hell at home this year. They're a perfect 8-0 at home on the season, and they have the #1 rated strongest schedule in the country. So to be perfect 8-0 with the strongest schedule, you deserve some credit. So right off the bat, I'm leaning Tennessee before I even get started. This Vols team is really anchored by its defense. They're 4th in the country in opponent field goal percentage, 59th in opponent 3-point percentage, 10th in opponent true shooting. To have those kind of defensive numbers with the strongest schedule, it's really impressive. This Tennessee defense is real. That being said, the last 2 games for Tennessee, that defense was looking a little vulnerable against Georgia and Mississippi State. Both those teams combined to score at least 77 points, and both those teams shot a combined 39.2% from 3. So Tennessee was giving up the deep ball in those 2 games. Now, we have to note, both those games were on the road, and we just noted that Tennessee is a perfect 8-0 at home. Also, I doubt defending the 3-point shot is going to be a huge issue against Florida. Gators are just 188th in 3-point percentage. Also, Gators are having some turnover problems right now offensively. And the shooting for Florida looks even worse when you pull up their home-away splits. They're averaging over 89 points per game at home, down to 83 on the road. Field goal percentage, over 50% at home, down to 43% on the road. 3-point percentage, under 30% on the road. So you combine Florida's offensive struggles on the road with Tennessee's elite defense at home where they're 8-0. Points may be at a premium here for the Florida Gators. But then we look at the other side of the ball, and I'm not entirely sure how much I trust this Tennessee offense right now. It's extremely one-dimensional. It really relies on one player, Dalton Knecht. If Tennessee wants to be a serious threat down the stretch in March, we're going to need to see some other guys step up offensively. Last game, Knecht scored 36 points in Tennessee's comeback win over Georgia. Listen, if I'm Florida head coach Todd Golden, I'm going to do whatever I can to keep the ball out of Knecht's hands. And we really don't know what this Tennessee offense might look like if that happens. Florida's weakness defensively is stopping the 3-ball. Dalton Knecht is really the only reliable outside shooter on Tennessee, or at least he has been the only reliable outside shooter on Tennessee. So I think there's a path to Florida's defense really giving Tennessee some problems here, which is why the under has to be the move here. It's at 159.5. I already bet this and I posted on the Discord right before recording this. Under 159.5. Gun to my head, forced to pick a side. I guess since I'm expecting a lower scoring game, I would lean Florida plus 9.5, but I'm not touching that. I'm taking the under. Next game. Let's talk Big Ten basketball. We got Purdue on the road at Indiana. Hoosiers are catching 9.5 points at home here with the total sitting at 151.5. So let's start this one off by looking at Purdue's home away splits here, because Purdue's only got 2 losses on the season, both in road Big Ten games. And if you look at their offensive home away splits, over 90 points per game at home, shooting over 41% from 3 at home, shooting over 52% from the field at home. Those numbers dramatically lower on the road. Now, they haven't played a ton of road games as most elite college basketball teams haven't at this point in the year. But at home, they are first in field goal percentage. On the road, 185th, which is absolutely huge for the Hoosiers because this Indiana defense has a lot of holes, especially defending the 3-point shot. And also, they struggle keeping opponents off the offensive glass, which is going to be huge in this one as well. When we flip it over to the other side of the ball, unfortunately for Indiana, this is just a bad matchup for them. So the Hoosiers do not shoot well from outside this year. At least they haven't. They're 30th in field goal percentage, though, so they can score, but most of the work is done on the interior. And the reason that's a problem, Purdue's got Zach Edey protecting the rim. I mean, it's tough to see an avenue where Indiana's putting up serious points on Purdue here. Look, I know this is a rivalry game, and taking 9.5 points with a home dog in a rivalry game is usually a profitable decision, but the second chance points in this matchup is going to be so one-sided. Indiana is such a poor rebounding team, and it's tough to see a path or they keep this game close with Purdue. So I'm going to go with Purdue minus 9.5 on the road. I actually see a 9 open on DraftKings right now as I'm saying this. So as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to grab that. Purdue minus 9 next game. Big 12 up next. We got Baylor on the road at Kansas State. Kansas State is a short home dog here, catching 2.5 points at home. Total sitting 142.5. We'll start this one off by taking a look at some of Kansas State's offensive numbers on the season, and this team's really having problems knocking down shots here. Just 202nd in field goal percentage, 260th in three-point percentage. They also turn the ball over a lot, 296th in turnover rate. I mean, not exactly a great start to this handicap for Kansas State. And even though Baylor's known as an offensive team, this is still a great defense. They're third in defensive rating, so this is still a top 10 rated defense in Baylor. 30th in three-point percentage allowed, 121st in true shooting, though. So like I said, Baylor really powered by their offense, but this is still a great defense. If you look at Baylor's offensive numbers, I mean, obviously one of the best offenses in the country. First in three-point percentage, second in efficient field goal percentage, third in offensive rating. I mean, you could probably make the argument that Baylor has the best offense in college basketball. I mean, maybe not recently, probably not anymore, but certainly a top 5 offense. Which brings me to my next point, and this is a little bit concerning. Three-point shots gone a bit cold for Baylor. Through their first 13 games, they were shooting 44% from three, which probably was a little unsustainable, but still, they were knocking down outside shots. In the last 3 games, they're shooting just 29% from outside. Now, on paper, if you use numbers from the full season, it looks like this Kansas State defense would be the perfect matchup for Baylor to bounce back from the cold shooting. On the season, Kansas State's just 113th in defensive rating, 120th in opponent three-point percentage, 138th in forced turnover rate. But since conference play started in their first 3 Big 12 games, this Kansas State defense has shown up, allowing less than 60 points per game, holding opponents to just 36% from the floor and 26% from three. So this Kansas State defense out of nowhere looks elite. They played Texas Tech down to the buzzer in Lubbock, 25-point win over UCF in their last home game. I think this is a sneaky sharp spot to fade Baylor, so give me Kansas State plus 2.5 next game. Big East basketball up next. We got the Johnnies. St. John's on the road at Seton Hall. Seton Hall catching them 1 point at home with a total sitting at 147.5. So in this matchup, it's significant that this game's being played in Jersey. Seton Hall is 8-1 at home this year with wins over UConn and Marquette. So they've beaten 2 top 20 teams at home this year. You don't want to play the Pirates at home right now. In true road games this year, the offense has really been non-existent. It's kind of tough to ignore how bad this offense has been on the road, or in their true road games, I should say. 291st or worse in the 3 major shooting metrics on the road this year. And to make matters worse for the Johnnies, Seton Hall's defense in particular has been a huge reason of why they're 8-1 at home. You can see their defensive splits here in their home games compared to their full season ranks. They've played great defense at home. My concern with this Seton Hall team comes on the other side of the floor. The offense is really relying on one player. Kadari Richmond, I mean, he's a monster. He's averaging 19.5 points per game, 5 assists, and 7 rebounds per game since conference play starting. Shooting 46% from the field. He is awesome, but he's really all they got offensively. And I may not trust that St. John's offense on the road, but I trust the defense. On the last 5 games, they're top 100 in both overall field goal percentage and three-point percentage, including an outstanding performance on the road in Creighton, holding them to just 22% from outside. That's 16% below their season average. This St. John's defense on the road against an offense that's really relying on one player, I think they show up, man. I think they give Seton Hall a lot of problems. Then you add on the fact that St. John's has the pretty significant rebounding edge as well. I'm going back to the Johnnies here. St. John's -1. Now, full disclosure, I can't bet this game. I'm in New Jersey, Seton Hall, so I am not allowed to bet this game. Usually when I give bets out, I personally bet them myself, but I can't. But I would take St. John's -1 in this one. That's all the time I got. Like I said, live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through the NBA games and some more college basketball games. So if you're able to make it, would love to see you in the comments. If you want my top bets for all sports, parlays of the day, or you want to join the Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. Let's have ourselves a great Tuesday night. Not a ton of NBA, but we got some college basketball. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.